Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So in this audio, I want to talk about flaking and, dealing with chicks and, you guys out there, you're getting flaked on. It's annoying. I understand. This is what chicks do. You understand? And I got a email, actually, from a subscriber. And in this email, he's talking about, he's being flaked on. He wants to know how to get more women and not get rejected and flaked on and all this other stuff. So I'm going to read the email, and then we're going to get into this discussion. You feel me? So it says, "Hey, Mr. Locario, thank you for answering my college girl question in the video. I have been doing what you said for the past 2 weeks. I usually walk around campus a couple of times and flirt with random girls. Is that the correct thing to do? I've been getting really hot girls' numbers, but every time I try to set up a date, they flake. I know you said it's a numbers game, but I really dream of having more accuracy with these women. I feel like a creep. Is there a way to get the hot girls I want more accurately without so much rejection?" All right, so this is the thing. I'm going to first I gotta say this, right? Because what I want to do in this video, right? Because you're saying you're getting hot chicks numbers and stuff like that, so it doesn't seem like you're having too much of a problem getting the girls' numbers, but then it seems like they're flaking. So what's happening is something that you might be doing wrong in your technique, because I talk about this a lot where, when I say for you guys to go out there and talk to a lot of girls, get numbers and all this other stuff, it's good to do that. But the thing is that when you practice on your technique, meaning how you actually do it and how you go about setting up the date and how you go about making these things happen, that matters. You understand? So I'm going to actually be, giving you guys 3 tips on how to, when you get the girl's number and then try to set up a date so that, it will be less likely that she will flake. So you might want to take out a pen and a pad and write some notes down on that, right? But before I get into that, right, I got to address something that you said. You said, "I feel like a creep." Right? And you're like, is there any way to get the hot girls I want more accurately without so much rejection? Right? See, first of all, that's one of your problems right there, is that you feel like a creep. You feel like you're basically doing something wrong by trying to get with these chicks. I hate when I hear guys say, "Oh, I feel like a creep," or, you guys listen to too much women when they say, "Oh, this guy is a creep and he's creeping me out," and all this other nonsense. You got to get that out your head. You got to get this whole creep thing out of your head. You have to take it out of your vocabulary. You have to not look at yourself as a creep, because what happens is that if you look at yourself like that when you're talking to girls, that will come across when you're talking to girls. You're not going to feel comfortable talking to girls. You're going to feel like you're sort of doing something wrong, and then you can't really, do what you need to do effectively when you're out here talking to these women, because you feel like you're doing something wrong. If you're trying to make something happen and you feel like it's wrong to do, you're not going to make it happen. I remember a long time ago, I went to this seminar, and it was about trying to get rich and, how to get rich, how to make money and all this other stuff. Right. So the guy who was speaking, he was this millionaire dude or whatever. And he was basically saying, He was like, how many of you think that money is the root of evil? And how many of you think that, rich people are assholes and all this other stuff, right? So he's basically saying, if you think money is evil, or if you think money is the root of evil, and if you think that it's wrong to get a lot of money, you can never be rich, because you think that there's something wrong with it. So it's going to stop you from getting the money because you think that there's something wrong with getting it. So therefore you won't get it if you think it's wrong. If you think it's immoral, or if you think it's evil, you can't get the money. You feel what I'm saying? So that if you think that way, you're not going to be able to make this happen. So if you feel like a creep, if you think you're a creep, if you think you're, creeping out these girls, how are you going to get them when you think that there's something wrong with how you're approaching the girls and making that happen? You feel what I'm saying? So you got to get out this whole mindset of feeling like a creep or being a creep. You have to say, you have to know that there's nothing wrong with you approaching girls and talking to women. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand? And stop listening to these women that always say, "Oh, this guy's a creep," and then stop it. Just ignore that. You understand? They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Women only say, guys are creeps because they are feeling a certain way when a certain guy is talking to them, a guy that they don't like, a guy that may make them feel nervous or whatever, then, oh, he's a creep, right? But the same guy, another guy could come who she's feeling and say the same thing that that creep said. And now, oh, he's so, he's so awesome and all this other stuff because she likes him. You understand? So it's only her perception of her feeling like, oh, well, this guy's a creep or that guy's a creep. That's just how she's feeling about that dude in that moment, because that same dude could go up to another girl and she will like him. You understand what I'm saying? So get that nonsense out your head, right? Now you're saying, is there a way to get hot girls I want more accurately without so much rejection, right? Now, the thing about rejection is that, a lot of guys try to avoid rejection. Now, the thing is, you can't stop rejection. You just can't. You have to. You're going to get rejected. It's going to happen. It's the process. It's the thing that has to happen in order for you to get success. You're going to get rejected. There's no way that you can get around rejection. And what you're saying, is there a way you could more accurately do this without so much rejection, right? See, the thing is that, you can't stop rejection, but you can increase your success rate by learning the game. So that means that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to not get rejected, but the amount of times that you're getting rejected and the rate that you're getting rejected won't be as much as it is now because you are learning the game. You understand? So you have to really, get more in depth with what you need to learn and practice your technique and make these things happen, right? And as far as talking about flaking, this is what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you guys 3 steps so that you can, basically make the rejection happen less, or it's going to be less likely that it's going to happen. And this stuff that I'm giving you today is the techniques. You understand? So when I talk about techniques, is basically talking about the how you do it. You understand what I'm saying? And the thing is, all of you guys should be on my Bad Boy membership, because I have an audio program on the Bad Boy membership called How to Get More Dates and Less Flakes. Do you understand? So go to Bad Boy membership right now and join the membership. And so you can, hear that entire audio plus all the other audios that I got on there. All right. All right. So now let's get into this, right? You're talking to these chicks. You're saying that you get these hot girls' numbers, but every time you try to set up a date, they flake, right? Now, this is the thing. This is the first step for any of you guys out there trying to, set up dates and make things happen with these girls, right? The first step is you got a girl's information, right? And you want to set up something to see her again or whatever it is, right? You have to plan the date as soon as possible. I'm going to say it again. You plan the date as soon as possible, right? So how soon as possible, right? Soon as possible actually could be you talking to a girl, right now and going on a date with her right now. Like if you have nothing to do at this moment, or at the moment you're talking to the girl and she's free, be like, yo, what are you doing right now? Oh, nothing. I'm just chilling. Cool. There's this coffee shop around the corner. Come and get a coffee with me real quick. Right. So you plan the date as soon as possible. Why do you plan the date as soon as possible? Because when you're dealing with a girl, right, you want to move things fast. You want to get these things going fast, because the longer it takes, the more likely things aren't going to go down with this chick. Do you understand? You want to get her basically in motion to be fucking with you. You understand? And the way to do that is to plan the date as soon as possible. So if you can actually plan the date that day, that moment, then do it. You understand? Because then you get to, get things going at that point, right? So, there ain't gonna be no flaking then, because you're doing it now, right? Now, let's say, you can't do it that moment. You're busy, she's busy, whatever it is, right? Now, when you get her information, and let's say you get her information, you give her your information, whatever, y'all exchange numbers, right? You have to call or text her that night or the next day. Call or text her that night or the next day, right? See, a lot of guys, they got that old school thinking of, oh, I got to wait a couple days and I got to wait 3 days. I don't want her to think I'm thirsty. No, listen, call her that night or text her the next day to set up the date, right? So that's what you need to do. You have to call her that night or text her the next day to set up the date. See, the thing is, you don't have to wait and pretend like, oh, I don't want her to think I'm desperate. I don't want her to think I have nothing else to do if I'm a call. No, if a chick is feeling you, she's going to be expecting to see you again. Do you understand? But what you don't want to do is you don't want to wait too long, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. You understand? To make things happen. So you call her or text her that night or the next day to set up the date. Now, when you call her or text her to set up the date, you have to have a specific, day and time that you're going to see her. And make sure before you guys finish texting or before you get off the phone with her or whatever, that date and time is booked. Okay? So you have to hit her up and say, hey, listen, there's this coffee shop on Main Street. Let's get together there on Friday at 5:00. And then she's like, all right, cool. Yeah, that sounds good. All right, awesome. I'll see you Friday at 5, right? Now, what I want to say also is this, is that when you plan the date, right, you have to make sure that you are not planning the date. You have to make sure that it's no longer than a week from when you are texting her and exchanging exchanging that information. So basically, what I mean by that is, let's say it's a Monday and you got her number and you text her Monday night to set up a date, right? The date must fall in, between that Monday you're texting her, or between that day and Sunday, the following Sunday, right? So it either has to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or that Sunday, right? Within that window, within that week. Do not plan something 2 weeks later, a week and a half later, 3 weeks later. No, within that week. And the sooner, the better. So if it's Monday, if you could get her out the next day, if it's Monday night, you texting her, you can get her out Tuesday, get her out Tuesday. If you can't get her out Tuesday, get her out Wednesday. It's better to, do it as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, right? If you can't get her those days, get her Thursday or Friday or Saturday, whatever it is, but make sure it's within that week, right? So make sure you plan the date, where you're going to be at, the time, the place, and make sure it's within that week. Okay? Now, let's say, for sake of argument, so we could go along with this, right? Let's say you plan the date. Let's say it's Monday, and you plan the date on Thursday. Let's say that's the day you and her were both free. And you said, okay, Thursday at 5:00, we're going to meet up at this coffee shop on Main Street. She's like, cool, I'm down. And, it is what it is, right? Now, the first thing was you plan the date as soon as possible. So you plan the date for Thursday. Now, the second thing you got to do is make sure you do not call or text her until the day before or the day of the date. Do not call or text her until the day before or the day of the date. So what that means is you hit her up on Monday to plan the date, and you're not supposed to see her until Thursday. So that means Tuesday, you should not be texting her, oh, how you doing? How's your day? What you eat for lunch? Like, none of that stuff. Don't text her anything. Don't call her, right? Now, the only time you call her or text her is the day before or the day of the date, meaning that since you're going to see her on Thursday, you only text her on either Wednesday or that Thursday morning or whatever, right? And the thing is, the only thing you text her on that day or those days is the confirmation. You understand? The confirmation that you're actually going to be actually going on the date with her. You understand? See, the thing is, you don't want to call or text in between time, because what's going to happen is that she's going to, you're going to be hitting her up, asking her all these questions, getting her too familiar with you. And then she's going to be like, this guy keeps sweating me. And then that's the type of thing that gets these girls to flake on you. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why I'm saying do not call or text her until the day before or the day of the date. And the only reason you're calling her is to confirm that the date is still on, right? So that's the third thing you got to do, which is confirm the date, right? Now, this is the part where, I hear a lot of dudes or guys that are like, oh, but, isn't it going to seem needy if I'm hitting her up to see if we're still doing the date and all this other stuff? Now, let me tell you something from not only my experience, but, other guys that I've coached and other close friends that I hang out with. And we exchange stories about dating chicks and all this other stuff. If you do not confirm the date that you're going on with the chick, right? You're going to be wasting a lot of time. And what I mean by that is that if you were supposed to meet a girl, let's say, you're supposed to meet this girl on Thursday at the coffee shop, right? And you do not confirm the date and you just go to the coffee shop at 5:00 and you're going to be sitting there and be like, okay, it's 5:15. Where's this girl at? It's 5:30. Where's this? And the reason why you're sitting there and she flaked on you is because you didn't confirm the date, right? So when you get confirmation that the date is still on, that things are still going down, you don't waste your time. Because if you hit her up and you say, hey, and this is what you actually should be doing when you confirm the date, right? Is that you got to text her, the day before or the day of the date to confirm. And if you text her the day before, so let's say you're supposed to see her on Thursday. So on Wednesday, Wednesday night, you can text her and say, hey, listen, are we still on for tomorrow? Right? And what's going to happen is she's either going to say, yes, we are, or, oh, no, I can't, make it because of such and such and such. Right? And now, again, if a chick is into you, she will say yes and see you. The problem is a lot of guys think that doing this by confirming, they're like, oh, but I don't want to, hit her up and confirm because then she's going to, back out, or maybe she's going to lose interest in me because I'm showing her too much interest at this point by, texting her. No. Right? If the chick is feeling you, she's going to say yes and actually come see you. Right? So the day before you say, hey, we still on for tomorrow, she'll text you back. Oh, yeah, of course. I'll see you tomorrow. Looking forward to it. All right, cool. Boom. Right? Now, if you text her the day of, let's say you text her Thursday, during the day, maybe like at noon or 1:00, be like, hey, what's up? We still on for, 5:00, right? At the coffee shop. She's either going to say, yes, of course. Yeah, like, we're going to be still on. Or she's going to be like, oh, no, I can't, blah, 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 right? Now, if the chick says no, if the chick is like, oh, I can't make it, this is, this happened, that is happening, blah, 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 right? All you need to do is say, you know what, cool. Hit me up when you free. We'll get together again soon. I'd love to see you. And that's it, right? That's all you got to do. And then you just keep moving to the next girl or whatever and all this other stuff. Because at this point, she's flaking on you. But it's better for her to flake at that point than you actually going all the way out to the damn coffee shop and wasting your time and then she doesn't show up. Because a lot of girls will not, these chicks, they will actually sit there and not text you to let you know they're not going to make it. They're just not going to show up. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why you have to confirm. Right? Another thing you can do, and this is, this is sort of like, it's, I don't recommend it all the time, but you can. So if you don't want to actually hit her up and say, hey, are we still on? What you can do is on the day of the date, about an hour and a half before you're supposed to meet her, you just text her and be like, hey, I'm on my way. I'll see you soon. Right? So what happens is you're letting her know that the date is still on. And if she isn't going to show up, or if something's coming up, or if she's like wanting to back out or flake out, she will text you and she'll be like, oh, hey, I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm gonna make it today. Is it okay if we could see each other on blah, 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 right? And that comes from you letting her know you're on your way to go see her, right? But what happens is sometimes is that you can text her an hour before, or an hour and a half before you're supposed to go see her. And you text her and you say, hey, what's up? I'm on my way. I'll see you soon. And then if she is actually going to still come see you, she will say, oh, cool, I'll see you soon, whatever. I'll be there at 5 and all this other stuff. So she's confirming that she will make it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the thing is, a lot of times when it comes to you talking to chicks and, worrying about if they're going to flake or not, whatever, it all comes down to how you handle, from when you get a girl's number to when you actually set the date and then make the date happen. See, a lot of times guys are missing sort of the steps in between this, or doing the ridiculousness, like, calling her every day before you're supposed to come see her, which gets her like, less attracted to you, which is the type of things that makes more women flake. A lot of guys will do that. So let's say you meet a chick on a Monday and you set something up for a Saturday, and there are guys who will actually text her, that Tuesday, text her again Wednesday night, text her again, on Thursday again, and all this other stuff. So you're texting her, you're over texting. And now she's like, God damn, this guy is, sweating me. Jesus, like, I don't think I want to go see this dude anymore. He's just like, he has nothing to do but text my ass. You understand what I'm saying? And dudes will do that. You understand? And I'm not saying that, the dude that sent me this email, that you're doing this. But what I'm saying is that, you have to understand that there's a way to go about this. Because the thing is, you said, you've been getting really hot girls' numbers, but every time you try to set up a date, they flake. And, I don't technically have the details of specifically what you were doing. But if you weren't doing the type of stuff that I was saying in here, meaning planning the date as soon as possible, not calling her until the actual, the day before or the day of the date, and actually confirming, you understand what I'm saying? This could be the reason why, you're getting flaked on. Now, if you set up a date, let's say you meet a chick on Monday, and you hit her up Monday night and you say, hey, let's get together on Tuesday, right? And Tuesday comes and she agrees to get together with you on Tuesday, right? You still should confirm on Tuesday. Meaning, let's say you said, let's get together Tuesday at 6, and you were talking to her or texting her Monday night, right? So you said, hey, let's get together Tuesday at 6. She said, cool, let's make that happen. And Tuesday comes. Around maybe 2 or 3, you should still text to confirm if you guys are still getting together at 6 on Tuesday. Confirmation is important. In the more you date, the more that you are actually doing things in your life. Trust me, you do not want to go all the way out to meet some chick who's not going to show up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you have that confirmation go down. And the thing is, again, if the chick is feeling you, she's going to be like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll see you soon. Looking forward to seeing you, blah, blah, blah. And then now you actually can go out to meet the girl knowing that she's not going to flake, because she literally just confirmed an hour ago or whatever it is before you went to go see her. Do you understand what I'm saying? And again, if she has to flake, or she's going to flake, it's better that, when you confirm, she says, oh, I can't make it or whatever. And you're like, all right, cool. You know what? Just hit me up later. Let me know when you are free and we'll get together. And then when you do that, you do not hit her back until she hits you back. And if she hasn't hit you back, within like a week or so, then you can probably hit her back again and say, hey, what's up? Let's get together, if you still want to deal with that chick. You feel what I'm saying? But again, what I would tell you in this email, first, stop calling yourself a creep and playing into that whole nonsense. Also understand that, rejection's going to happen. right? Understand that it's going to happen. You can't escape it. It's what goes down. And understand that you can increase your success rate by learning the game, right? And also remember the 3 steps of when you are setting up the dates is plan the date as soon as possible. Second thing is do not call or text her until the day before or the day of the date. And the third thing is to make sure you confirm. Do you understand? Because this type of stuff is going to make it less likely that you're going to get flaked on and that you're going to waste your time. You understand? And again, it's still a numbers game. You still got to talk to, a different amount of girls and make these things happen. But you do not want to, keep doing this same stuff and making the same mistakes, out here getting girls' numbers. And then you're like, well, how come stuff isn't going down as far as them meeting me after I get the number? You understand? And this is why you have to work on the technique, right? And again, guys, make sure you go to badboymembership.com so that you can join the Bad Boy membership and you can get how to get more dates and less flakes. And you can listen to that audio right now. Okay, go to badboymembership.com, become a member. You can hear that audio plus other audios, other 45 to 90 minute audio and video tutorials, and you get new audio and video tutorials every month. All right, so I'm out of here, guys. I'm gone. And remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm out. All right, now before you click off this video, I need you to do 3 quick things. First, I need you to click the link below to send me your questions, because if you have any questions, I'll answer them in a video. 2, click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. It gives you 10 tips on how to attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90 minute audio and video tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90 minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.